Hi, I'm Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Aquarius for October 2018. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com. Check out my extensive blog, including a ton of materials on the transits that are current, which I will refer to throughout our video here. And if you would love to have a live reading with me, I'm off a sabbatical from taking live readings, so I am available. You can check that out at anniehelpsyou.com. So what's going on in the month of October? We've got Venus retrograde taking center stage. We also have some other aspects and things going on that I'll talk more about in the general transits. Also, we've got Mars continuing to move through your sign. This has been a long-term thing because of the Mars retrograde, but now it's passing through for the final time, so we'll talk about that. So let's just start with that. So Mars is going to cross over all of your Aquarius placements at some point here soon, okay, this month or soon before or soon after. What does that mean? Okay, Mars has been in retrograde. Mars rules your vitality, your oomph, your get up and go. It rules motivation, it rules ambition. So when it was moving retrograde, it caused us to really reconsider how we use our energy, looking back to the past, looking at past projects, you know, looking at inner issues, including anger things for some people. But for many people, the motivation just kind of slipped away. So now at the end of August, Mars is direct and Mars is going to cross over your placement. So that's going to activate the energy of Mars more. So you may find that you have much more ambition, motivation, energy. You might find that you're aggravated or that you have conflicts because there's just sort of this busy energy. I always think about border collies when I think of Mars because they embody that energy really well. So like they're always kind of nervous and they're running around, and then sometimes they can get nippy and, you know, start to bark or fight because it's like just so much energy running through you. So that's, you know, that's what it's like. It's like your nervous system is extra stimulated. So you may feel like you want to get some stuff done. There are some rules to at least consider about Venus retrograde. I go into a massive amount of detail in my very comprehensive series of Venus retrograde. I wanted to make sure you are very prepared for this transit because it rules love and beauty and finances and business and money and design and other areas of life. So definitely as a sister to this video, you have to watch my Venus retrograde do's and don'ts video. And there's a blog on my site, anniehelpsyou.com. So I have just everything that you need to know. So check, if you're going to do something important, check all of those things because I'm not going to cover all that here. What I want to focus on here is where Venus is going to go retrograde in the Aquarius chart. But in general, back to the thing with Mars, you're going to be feeling motivated to do things. So your best bet is to try to do things in the backdrop or follow the flow with, you know, just how things are coming to you, to just kind of take things as they come in and just avoid big launches. You can still get things done. You can still try things on. You can still stay the course. You can still bring things back from the past and just sort of keep working with them. Just try to avoid the energy of launch or like making a big hullabaloo about something like, hey, here this is, you know, just kind of try to keep it below the radar, but you can just keep doing what you got to do. Okay, so I'm going to talk about, okay, the other thing I want to mention is that since the planets are moving into Libra, this is amazing for Aquarius because all of the personal placements moving through Libra are going to make trines with your sign. So you have a boost from Mars amping you up. You have this sweet energy from the personal planets in Libra giving kisses to your Aquarius placements, and that's all of you. Early, middle, and late degree placements are going to experience this. So yay for that. So then we have Venus retrograde. Okay, so now we're going to talk about where you can expect to see that energy in the chart. Everybody, all signs, has Venus moving through Scorpio and back into Libra. Okay, so the energies for 8th house and Scorpio are going to be current for all signs, and I am going to speak to some things specific for that. But then the early and some middle degree placements are also going to have this energy of Sagittarius 9th house. Okay, so why don't we, I'm going to start with this Scorpio manifestations so that the second half of the sign is going to experience the actual retrograde, either mostly or all in the 8th house. So that means it's happening in the sign of Scorpio and it's happening in the house of Scorpio. So what I'm about to share is going to be true for everybody. It's just doubly true for the the second half, okay? So in general, retrogrades are not the time, especially Venus retrograde is not the time to make a life-changing decision, especially about love, beauty, money, design, because more information is coming in and you don't have all the information. So you could make a decision or do something prematurely and not have all the information. The second thing is that people aren't really seeing things clearly in those areas of life. So very likely, you know, money things, love things are going to be coming up. It's just a matter of evaluating and assessing and trying to hold off until like mid-December or like the end of the year in early January to make decisions if you have to. So assessing and researching and working in the backdrop, or experimenting without long commitments with flexibility, or things with low stakes. Like if you have a low stake thing you have to do, like you have to go buy a broom, you know, I'm not worried about anything like that. This is not, just do your life as you would usually. But this is, you know, about things that carry more gravity. In general, just staying the course and doing things as you're doing them is best indicated, and going to the past for things involving business or love is going to be better indicated. Okay, so we're going to talk about the 8th house manifestations. Okay, so you know that all Aquarius placements have this energy. I'm going to give you some potentials of how this could show up. I'm also going to give you some good ways to use the energy and resources. So the 8th house rules other people's money, which happens to have to do with you and a spouse, you and a company, you and your stocks, you and a finance, you know, like a loan, you and your parents, inheritances, anything like that. Lotto, sweepstakes, winnings, venture capital, you know, anything. Credit cards. So anything involving that is likely to come up. So it's a great time to look for money and financing options from the past. Like finding a new place or finding a new contact is not as well indicated at this time, but it is a great time to look into consolidating, managing, or paying off debt. Past romantic interests or zest from your current relationship that was in the past may come back in present. Intimacy issues are very likely to come up if there's anything there to be dealt with. Making money or a return to a fanatical interest in Scorpio-related things, so anything having to do with mysteries, psychology, esoteric topics, astrology is in there, ancient wisdom and tools, things like that. So some questions that you can proactively ask to utilize the energy in the best way, or questions that will naturally come up without you even trying, have to do with how you can add more substance into your life. Also, how can you connect in with powerful partners to create synergistic outcomes and win-wins? How can you merge your power with someone else's to create something even better? How can you pay off, manage debt, use money more wisely? What are the reasons that you're sabotaging yourself financially and working on healing them? Individual and couples counseling is amazing during this retrograde. Re-exploring previous romantic or financial relationship without a finite decision on what that looks like. Let's say like a certain time period that you're working with something, like a trying on to see if anything has shifted. Deep spiritual work of any kind, alone or with a partner. Studying any of the things that I talked about before, or teaching them or working with them in any way. Connecting to your angels or the lesser seen realms. And in general, doing things to help magic return to current relationships. The affirmation that I created for Venus retrograde in this house is I attract amplified synergistic connections. So focusing on synergy rather than, you know, I mean, wherever there's codependency, wherever there's parasitic relationships, things like that, you can help shift the energy to focus on synergy where the end result is greater than the sum total. So those are the kind of things that we're looking for. Okay, so now the first half of the sign, you might also have, well, really all of you have energy in the 9th house. So again, this happens very often when I'm breaking it down by the early, middle, and late degree placements, that one event that I'm talking about is happening very clearly for a certain section of you, but then that same area is being highlighted for other reasons for the rest of you. So Venus is going to be retrograde in the 9th house for you early in the early middle degree placements. So that's going to bring up a deep energy around, you know, money and work with Sag and ninth house related things, which I'll get into what those are. But you all have the ninth house aspected this month, so all of you should pay attention because some of these things might come up. Okay, so questions to ask or that may naturally come up. Is there a writing, teaching, publishing, or other ninth house Sagittarian-based project that you started but you didn't finish that you want to get back to? Is there a location that's been calling you to return to? Sag has to do with travel, and a lot of times long distance travel, and a lot of times international travel. So if there's a place that's called to you that you've been hearing that call and you haven't showed up, maybe this retrograde could bring you back to that place or bring you there for the first time. Is there any Sag ninth house way that you made money or would like to make money? So again, through writing, teaching, editing, anything having to do with formal or informal education, spiritual pursuits, working with the church. Is there a church or other spiritual studies that you danced with before or that you're drawn to go back to check out again? So some resources for this time are education and research on how you can make writing, speaking, interacting internationally or with business or other a return, how you can bring that into your life or how you can change how that's showing up in your life. Returning to a place that you loved, getting back into the study or teaching topics you loved in the past, getting back to these spiritual pursuits, or breathing life back into previous publishing projects. So the affirmation that I made for you all is, I reconnect with past experiences in meaningful ways. Okay, so the last thing I want to mention is that new moon on October 8th is going to be at 15 degrees of Libra. So of course, remember, when anything goes on in an air sign, we want to pay special attention because that means it's going to aspect your air sign, especially close to that degree. So like I said earlier, all of you are going to be getting the blessings of the planets moving through Libra and kissing your Aquarius placements. But then there's an additional boost for from the new moon. For those of you, if you have 15 degrees or around like the 3rd or so of the month, that's going to be the biggest, or actually no, the 8th or so of the month, that's going to be like the biggest, most powerful energy. But anything from like the 3rd through the 13th of the month or the 10th through the 20th, if you're watching for degrees, is going to get an extra boost from that new moon. So you might find something notable coming in then. Okay, so those are the things that are most on my mind, specifically for Aquarius. Now I want to do a short recap of some general Venus retrograde things to know. Also some sweet dates and ones to definitely look out for in October. So we're going to go into all that now. So I'm calling the theme of October 2018 for all signs Venus retrograde on the positive tip. We've already talked about what Venus retrograde in the house that it's retrograde for your sign can look like for you and some strategies to best utilize that. And now I want to give you some general things, especially some positive things, but also with a few cautionary notes and just a reminder that really you have to go watch my Venus retrograde video, Annie Botticelli Venus retrograde, and definitely look at the written version in my blog at anniehelpsyou.com because there's so much to know about this transit. It's so long. It's from October 5th through November 15th as the actual retrograde, but a month before and a month after is the shadow period when we're going to these rules will apply. So one of the best things that Venus retrograde is amazing for is working on self-esteem. Everything that Venus rules, love, beauty, design, money, comes back to this energy of relationship with self. So our relationship with money and business, our relationship with other people, our relationship with how we feel like we look, all has to do with our self-esteem. So that's why in general it's not favored to try to push out in any of these other arenas because it's really a time to locate and clear issues that are holding you back from the inside. So inner work, prayer, meditation, affirmation, anything where you can heal from trauma and anything that's negatively affecting your self-esteem is amazing for this time. Something else that's amazing for this time is to look to the past for improvements for love and money. Okay, so that means like if you did something with your partner in the past that worked really well, or if in general you did certain things with your love life in the past that worked really well. There could be like a renaissance, a returning back to things that worked really well. Many people who are separated from their love will have them come back to them in Venus retrograde. If there's someone that you left off with and you're not sure about, sometimes they come knocking again in Venus retrograde. And it's a really amazing time to reconsider things. It's just, and assess. It's just not the best time to commit to anything that you're figuring out from the assessments. Something that Venus retrograde is amazing for is for treasure hunters. If you are looking for a deal on something, unfortunately, this is coming from the fact that many people are not seeing clearly in money, and they're selling things of value for emotional reasons at crazy low prices. So if you have money to spare, you could wind up picking up an amazing deal. It's just a treasure hunter's delight. Definitely be careful though, because it could also, something you buy could become a money pit. So you have to make sure that you're getting a really great deal, and that, like if it's a house or something, you really need to do as many inspections as possible and just make sure, you know, you have all your bases covered, you know, extra inspections like sewage, septic, you know, whatever, everything that you can do to make sure that you know that what you're buying isn't going to have any negative surprises, then it could turn out really well. You just have to look out for that. So in general, going back to the past for love, going back to the past for money and business, things that worked in the past with money, clients from the past, if you do something like you teach or offer something regularly, sometimes in a Venus retrograde, you'll have a bunch of people from the past who had been considering taking this offering might come out in full force. And of course, it could happen the other way. You know, a lot of people do have financial issues, like financial backlog, where they have trouble with their finances, and then that's going to point to healing some inner issues that are causing these reflections or the lack of stability. Okay, so I'm going to talk about hit some sweet spots and hit some challenging spots in the month. Remember, definitely go to anniehelpsyou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter, because there I give you a write-up of this general transit in more detail with lots of dates of actual aspects, what the aspects are and what to look out for each aspect, so that you can plan ahead. I always send these out a month early. And if you are signed up for my newsletter and you're not getting these, I'm definitely sending them. I always send them meticulously on time. So you definitely check for like your spam, promotions, or social folders, because if you're not getting in the inbox, they're going there. And then you can just move it over to your inbox or whitelist the email on there to get them in there. Okay, so let's just do a quick review of some sweet spots. Well, actually, let's do the challenging ones first, okay? So we've got things to look out for on October 2nd, 5th, 8th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 23rd, 24th, and 31st, with extra emphasis on those ones towards the end of the month, the 24th and the 31st. Now, it's interesting because in general, the second half of the month has a lot better flow and sweet energy, with the exception of those two spots. Okay, those are oppositions with Uranus that can bring jolts and surprises. That could be challenging. So just kind of tread lightly around those days. And then the other ones that I listed, you could see some challenges. Always look out around the full moon, which is like the 24th, because, you know, there could be drama or there could be fulfillment, completion or fruition. And that's going to be in these energies of Taurus. So fullness, completion, drama, fruition coming to things involving money and business and self-worth. There's a topic coming up again, sensual delights, material resources, environmental and sustainability projects, boundaries, resistance to change, things like that. Oh, and anything having to do with your throat, vocal cords, thyroid gland, etc. could bring things to light, or bring things up to be dealt with. Okay, so I want to end off talking about the sweet spots. We've got some of the days that could turn out to be challenging could also turn out to be super sweet. So you'll hear when I list the sweet vibe days. And always remember, when I give you these dates, we could feel the energies before or after the actual date, because there's an orb of energy around each transit. So don't stick too heavily to the dates, just kind of tune into how you are experiencing the energy. So sweet spot possibilities on the 5th, the 8th, the 15th, the 19th, the 22nd, the 24th, the 26th, the 27th, and the 29th. In general, the second half of the month, like I said, has a lot of sweetness, with the exception of the 23rd, 24th, and the 31st, some things to look out for. But there's some really awesome things going on, like October 22nd. Mercury is making a beautiful aspect to Pluto. So your powers of persuasion are improved and your powers of perception are improved. Then there's also this October 27th with the Sun in Scorpio making an amazing aspect to Saturn. So this is a great energy to get things done, and also an enhanced possibility of being seen or acknowledged by somebody in a position that you want to notice you. So it could be like someone in your family that you've always been kind of chasing their approval, or it could be somebody, you know, in the work world. October 29th, there's this mixed bag, but it really has potential for a lot of good news and good luck. Mercury and Jupiter get together. So whenever any of these personal planets get together with Jupiter, the energy of luck, you know, amplifies out, and Mercury rules news. So some good news about money, about something involving your partner. It could be money from your partner. It could be your own money. Lots of magical potentials here. Of course, it could also bring intensity to conversations, you know, in the Scorpio realms or something like that. But in general, I'm looking for that day, hopefully, to have some good vibes. So overall, this month of October, some little awkward spots, and definitely the Venus retrograde is going to have this shadow. But if you understand the energies, as you will if you use all of the many resources that I made for you, then I think that this can be a really sweet month. And for the things that are challenging, you could really have pure alchemy to turn the lead to gold. So go to AnnieHelpsYou.com, sign up for my free email newsletter. You can also see more about my personal live readings, which I'm off sabbatical and I'm taking taking new clients now. If you've been wanting to have a reading and have me look at your chart. Also, if you would love to learn astrology, check out my astrology apprenticeship program. I also have all kinds of other goodies on my website. If you want written horoscopes from me, they go into often different things that I focus on in the reports. So it's a really good written highlight and summary, and includes great reads for each sign. So cozybysweetstarlight.com. And if you're a traveler and you want to see my astrology travel reports to see what days to look out for specifically for travel, then check out Astrology Kissed Travel Bliss. So I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.